And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, 1:20 in the afternoon. And okay, now, so if you're watching this live stream, Bridgette just changed outfits again. And Addison, what do you think? Is that Wonder Woman?
You guys got to go way back in time. Kind of Wonder Woman-ish.
Oh, is it
Hang on. She and her singing brother were very popular when we were kids, Dan.
Oh, that's not Tony, Orlando, and Don. That's Marie Osmond.
It's Marie Osmond. Okay, so believe it or not, I not only have the mask, this was the tiny little dress that went with it.
Oh, good night. Are you kidding me?
Nope, I still have the box.
You still kept all that. Look at that. Wow.
There's not many things I kept, but if you have a Marie Osmond box,
that's got to be worth something.
Dress,
right?
And this is not exactly in the best shape, but there we go.
Wow.
Yeah, there we are.
How do we breathe through those masks?
you don't. It's a lot of sweaty in here,
right?
And I can't see for crap. So hey, this was, and then send us out in the dark in traffic.
Yeah,
great,
right.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, no worries.
That's
yeah,
excellent.
Just hey, don't worry, you can't see left or right. Oh man,
no big deal.
How did we make it?
So yes, Marie Osmond, but my brother was never Donnie. What a letdown.
Jeez. Oh man. Well, I'll tell you what, we've got Oscar on line one. Oscar, happy Halloween. What you got for us today?
Yeah, same to you kids. You know, something that we did way before your time, but back in the late 50s and 60s, Halloween night, why, it was walk through town, go into town, and see how many outhouses we could tip over. Back in those days down there in Flandreau, there were a lot of, they'd put in sewer, but most of them still had their old outhouses, and there's one guy down there, we knew he was in there because we wait till about half the night, go over there. He was always in there with his shotgun, and when that shotgun went off, we knew we had to go to another side of town.
Wow. You were little hooligans, weren't you?
Yeah. Then you had to watch out because some guys would move their outhouse just enough so you got behind there. Guess what happened? You had dirty shoes.
Oh, Oscar. Oh, I love that story. I've never heard of that. I've heard of outhouse tipping, but
yeah, that's what I said. It was way before your time,
Wow. Oh, that's hilarious.
Anyway,
that's hilarious. Oscar,
you get to have a good Halloween there.
Thanks. You do the same. Thanks for sharing that story. Oh man. And they used to did I hear him right? They used to wait until the guy was in there.
Well, they could. You had to be a little careful about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whew, okay, I can't.
Oh man.
I gotta take that off from time
take
to
your
time.
mask
I get a little hot in that
off.
mask. My God. Okay.
Oh man.
And it must sound like I'm talking in a plastic can because of the
right. How did they understand you? What did they say? Trick or treat? What did she just say?
Yeah, and of course you went to like your grandma's house, who couldn't hardly understand you to begin with. So nice.
So I was reading this article. Yeah, about so the title is Earth is Racing Towards Climate Conditions That Collapsed Key Atlantic Currents Before the Last Ice Age. So researchers have found that global warming during the last interglacial period, and we were warmer, so everybody, throws all these red flags like the Earth has never been this warm before. That's totally false. Again, media not telling you the truth. So we were warmer on Earth at a period before what we're going through now. And the global warming during the last interglacial period caused so much Arctic ice to melt that the Atlantic currents collapsed, and scientists say we're heading towards some of the same conditions. Well, what does that mean? Well, global warming caused vital Atlantic Ocean currents to collapse just before the last ice age. So the weakening currents triggered a cascade of effects, resulting in dramatic cooling of the Nordic seas, the Greenland, Iceland, and Norwegian seas, while the surrounding oceans grew warmer. Thus, this led to, and it goes in to explain why, which is a little complicated. I'm not going to read the whole article, but basically,
sure.
It led towards the next ice age, which I found quite interesting because. So we were warmer at another period of time on Earth, which that doesn't surprise me.
No.
But with that warming, it caused the ocean currents to kind of reverse, if you will, in the Atlantic, which made everything drastically colder in the northern hemisphere, leading to the next ice age. So they said that's kind of what we're going towards now if we keep up, with the current conditions. So I found it interesting. It kind of puts a reverse effect. You don't hear that part of the story. You know what I mean?
Okay. But here's a couple of questions.
Sure.
One, what's the probability? Do we have a 60% probability, et cetera? And over what period of time? Because I feel like I'm not going to see this in my lifetime.
No, we'll be gone.
Even though
we'll be gone.
Marie Osmond is still alive and well, according to this. So.
They're thinking the tipping point could be right around 2050 or so, and then it would take numerous years to start seeing, the next ice age develop. So we'll be long gone. But, it's something to think about. Something to think about.
I think
it's interesting.
I think there's always that possibility. And history has changed. We've watched numerous weather events. If you are a student of history, we just wait to see what happens. There's things that we never expected. We'll just see where they show up.
Exactly.
I'm not going to get too excited about it.
Right.
I know that the sun's going to shine again tomorrow, and we're going to raise a crop in 2025.
See,
those two things are kind of a given.
There you go. Well, we got Larry. We got Larry on line one. Larry, what you got for us today?
Two different things. This is a pretty interesting topic. Seems how the Red River Valley is the old Lake Agassiz, and
right,
and the flow when you drive from Fargo west to Castleton, how much your elevation changes, and so it's kind of an interesting topic. Yesterday, you had an interesting topic on the ag. My thing is there's a lot of retired guys that are catching on to this ag and then turning their farms over to the younger people. And we have a lot of retired vets that are retired farmers, and they're very interested in a lot of Bridgette's conversation. Her talks, anyway, conversation.
Right. Yep.
So my other theory is I firmly believe that Bridgette should get on the honor flight and get to know some of these older veterans. The next one's leaving in May. Ronnie and
Janae.
Janae, they went. Yeah. Bridgette took me on a quick flight around Big Iron on her special go-kart.
Golf cart this summer, I did.
So I firmly believe that if you guys could get a hold of some big shots or something, and we should get Bridgette on an honor flight to meet some of these older vets.
Well, thank you, Larry. First of all, it's good to hear from you again after our time together at Big Iron. And good news, actually, one of the women who helps do the majority of the fundraising for the honor flights, she and I live in the same town. So I'll have a little talk with Jane and see how I can help with that. And you're exactly right. The propensity of farmers who are also service members is huge. And so thank you to so many of them. And I think even yourself, Larry, if I'm not mistaken, I believe you were also in the military.
Yeah. I believe I know Jane, so tell her hello for me. We're kind of from the same neck of the woods, I believe, a few years ago. But I believe you should get on that flight, and that would be a real plus to some of the vets that I communicate with. And thanks again for the tour at Big Iron.
Hey, thank
Anytime.
you. Thank you, Larry. And I think Larry's got a point. I mean, with a lot of retired vets being farmers and get you on the flight there, Bridgette, that'd be a good thing.
I will see what I can do. I'll talk to Jane. Like I said, she lives right here in town, and I bet we could maybe come up with a plan.
That'd be great. That's the one thing I wish my dad fought in World War II, and I wish they had the honor flights back then. Like after he retired, up until, through the 80s. Did they have him in the 80s? Because if they did, I never heard about it.
No, the honor flights probably have a less than 20-year history of happening, is
Okay.
my guess. They
Yeah.
haven't been going on quite that long,
Oh,
at least in this region.
Oh, man, would he have loved it? Oh, just, yeah, to be able to take one of those flights, that'd be great. And it's great. It's great for our vets, no doubt about it. Well, we're at the bottom of the hour, so we have to pay a few bills around here. When we come back, we'll hit on some ag topics. Also going to talk briefly about an experimental weather model. This is brand new, and the Grand Forks National Weather Service is the only site in the U.S. that's just starting to use this. I had a little chat with them today. In fact, we're gonna get one of their meteorologists who works with this model and who actually, quote unquote, I don't want to say invented it, but basically, pretty much so. We're gonna get them on probably within the next 2 weeks because they have a forecast for the upcoming winter as well. And so I'll hit on that model, and we'll also hit on some ag topics coming up right after the break. And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, 1:35 in the afternoon. And we're playing Guess Bridgette's Costume. She's got a different costume each segment. I've guessed the first two. Oh, this one might be tough. Addison?
It's not actually it's not actually like someone famous. Just a character.
It's just a character. Addison, do you have any clue? The eyelashes on that are hilarious. I'm stumped on this one. Addison, any clue?
I've got no. Well, we're different Halloween generations. You guys got to realize that too. I have no idea what that character could be. Everyone, when I was going as Halloween, you were either Superman or you were mysterious black cloak figure. There was no in between on that.
What is this? Is this from the 80s and 90s, or what's this from, Bridgette? 70s with that mask, I'm guessing.
I'm gonna guess my mom let me wear this in the 70s. I just got to be a gypsy. So
you know what? I was going to guess that, too. I should have said it.
With the earrings? Yeah. Yep, with those earrings?
Yep, and this would be the blue scarf over her hair. But I can't.
Okay.
I have all of the strings that should wrap these around my head, but I'm kind of afraid that if I put them on, that something's going to break. Like the mask is going to shatter because it's brittle, so I'm not. But, so you, Dean, you are a walking violation.
Yeah, can we
Was
zoom,
that
can we zoom
just a
in on
regular
this?
day for you?
It is. So I'm a walking work violation. So, and I've got these Post-it notes, like for wearing a hat, it's a $5 fine. For wearing a hoodie, it's a $5 fine. No collared shirt, it's a $5 fine. And I've got my gym shorts on, which you can't see, and that's another $5 fine. So I'm a walking work violation.
Somebody call HR.
That's it. Well, should have seen the owner's face of the company when I'm walking down the hallway, and he stopped to look at what I was wearing, just shook his head and laughed. Thanks for having a sense of humor, Steve. Exactly. Oh, boy. Exactly. So I was on the phone with the National Weather Service because the other day, and I don't know if you caught it, but on their website, they put out a winter forecast using what they called a brand new experimental model used for winter weather. And it was designed here up in Grand Forks, and we're the only office that has it. So I was on the phone with them today, and again, we'll get the meteorologist that works closest with this on with us here within the next 2 weeks. We're going to try and get our schedules down and see how we can get him in. But he was telling me, it's an experimental model. It's called machine learning model, and it's based on past seasons. So in other words, let's take it kind of reminded me like a tiny bit of the LRC. Like, let's take a look at with the LRC, we're not taking a look at past seasons, but we can look at the LRC from last year and kind of blend it into this year. But we look at, with the LRC, a cycling method. This uses something a little bit different. It goes on past patterns, and it teleconnects it with similar situations that we have going on currently. So let's say, all right, this fall and into early winter, this is what it looked like in previous years with the same conditions. What did those winters hold? What did those winters transpire to be? And so this is the model that they're using to forecast what we are expecting in this upcoming winter. So it will be interesting to see how this pans out. And I won't tell you what this experimental model has forecasted. We talked about it, but I want to let them kind of explain what the upcoming winter is expected using this experimental model compared to like what the Climate Prediction Center is forecasting. Because I found it interesting. I said, I could see kind of how the LRC is unfolding now. And I asked him, I said, are you familiar with the LRC? He goes, yeah, I've heard about it. And, so I was explaining to him how it works because explaining that the LRC has a good 70% plus accuracy rate, and they don't, there's nothing to base this experimental model on because it's the first year they've used it. But it'll be interesting to see. I want to compare it to the LRC when the season is done and see exactly what it looks like at the end of the year. I will give you a hint. This experimental model has predicted a very quiet month of November, which that doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't.
No.
And when I say quiet, I mean in terms of winter weather. We could still use some precip, that's for sure. But it's something that hey, the more help you can get in terms of forecasting the weather, even maybe this experimental model will turn out to be something that we all can use and provide more accurate forecasts. That's what it's all about. We got Tom on line one. Tom, welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. What you got for us today?
Got a question for you, Dean. So
Sure.
is this new model from the NWS, is this similar to the one that the ECMWF uses over for AI? Is that the one similar to this, or is this weather model kind of similar, kind of a combination of analog and digital?
And see, that's a good question, Tom. I didn't get too in-depth about it. I don't believe it's AI-based. The AI-based model that the European model uses, I've followed that, and I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. I have
many variables.
Yeah. But again, be listening, and we'll let everybody know. But we're gonna have him on from the National Weather Service, and he can go more in depth on how this model works. And it may be, I don't believe he said it was AI based. I could be wrong. Again, it was a brief discussion. I just kind of wanted to pick his brain on it a little bit, because when I saw what they were forecasting for the upcoming winter, I thought to myself, well, this is a little different than the CPC Climate Prediction Center, what they were forecasting. Yep. So I was curious to how it was based. Was it based off other models? But it's basically based on past patterns and teleconnections. And what they call machine learning. So whether he meant that machine learning was AI based, we didn't get it too much into detail on that. But we'll have him on here within the next couple of weeks. So we'll have him.
This sounds extremely interesting. I follow different ones. I follow you guys, and I follow another one that's I don't know. Do you know Eric Snodgrass?
Oh yeah.
Do you know of him? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I also follow him. So and I used to follow Tom Skilling. So. And now Tom's bopping all over the world.
He is. So, I used to work with Tom back in the day. He's a great guy. He's fantastic.
Yeah, and I went to one of his the sessions at Fermilab. Went to one of those one time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was fun, but anyway, I look forward to listening to this. This sounds extremely interesting.
Good deal, Tom. And we'll let everybody know when we're hoping within the next 2 weeks. Before mid-November, so we've got to coordinate schedules and see when we can get them on.
Okay, thank
Excellent.
you very much.
Hey, thanks,
Dean.
Tom. Have a great day. All right. See, and like I said, anything we can. It's not, some people say, well, don't you take that? Like, you've got the LRC that you guys use. Well, there's nothing. You can use numerous models, and if this thing is accurate, that's fantastic. Anything we can do to advance meteorology and bring more accurate forecasts to the public, whether that's the LRC, whether that's this experimental model, who cares? It's not a battle of who's better. It's a battle of getting out better information. And I'll tell you what, I was a little worried with the LRC the way it was setting up, because it was so dry. And at least now we're getting into a little more active pattern here as we head into the month of November. So thank goodness.
Well, we're going to see what it looks like.
And it will be interesting to see. So this storm that's rolling through Sunday and Monday, it's going to be a pretty wet one. And it'll be interesting to see. So far over the last week and a half, the main storm track has been down to our south through the central and southern plains. That's what we call where the anchor trough is. And if that continues through the winter, then the majority of the precip will be down to our south. But this one for next week, or late weekend, early next week, is coming up north. And, if you translate that, if this was all snow, we'd be looking at 5-10 inches of snow. So
maybe I already saw snow pictures from New Ulm, Minnesota this morning, and then also to the western South Dakota areas, around Sturgis and so forth. So there is indeed snow on the ground in places now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wyoming got quite a bit.
Yeah, we're just Wyoming, and I believe southern Colorado picked up was it 30 inches? So yeah, we're missing it here, but that's okay. Hey, as long as we get the moisture,
That is
right. So
and it's a Halloween without snow for kids for a change.
And
Let's
that's
live
good.
it up a little bit.
And I know, absolutely. That's good news. No doubt about it. So, all right, 1:45, we're coming up on one more break here. When we come back, we've got ag topics to hit today. We haven't even hit on any ag topics, Bridgette. So
we have a bunch.
I've been hogging the show here. I'm sorry.
Well, I've been busy changing clothes every segment. So
do you have one more? You've got one more, right?
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
I got one more. So
Turn
my camera off, Addison. I got some work to do over here.
All right, we got one more segment left. If you have any questions for us, 701-293-9000. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And there's a happy Halloween for one of our viewers, Steve, out on the East Coast. Happy Halloween there to you, Steve. Hope everything's well out east. I know they've had near record warmth on the East Coast, so, and much of the East, actually. They've had a nice warm Halloween. All right, so welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. It's a special Halloween edition, and you've got to be watching on our live stream. This is awesome because Bridgette keeps changing outfits every segment. And, all right, you have an apron on. Are those snowflakes on the apron? Or
I don't know. It was Grandma's, but then there's a prairie bonnet. Whoopsie.
Okay.
And I brought you a couple of hints too. Can you see my books?
Oh, all right. So it's
The World of Little House, the Little House Cookbook.
So it's Little House on the Prairie, correct?
Who was the star of the show?
Who was the star of Little House on the Prairie? Addison.
They called her Half Pint.
Oh, you can't throw me under the bus like that. I don't think anyone might have
I'm looking
seen
for
that.
help. I'm looking for help. It's been so long, bro. I could Google it, but that's cheating.
That's
Half
cheating.
pint.
So
Half pint on Little House on the Prairie.
Laura Ingalls Wilder.
Oh, okay. All right. That's awesome.
There you go.
Good deal. Man, and you've got some old stuff there that you kept over all these years. That's fantastic.
I live in a museum.
I guess so. Oh man, I'll tell you what. And that was the fun part about when you're an adult and you get trick-or-treaters. It's so fun watching all the kids, just the different costumes that they have, and it brings you back to when you were a kid, and how simple life was back then, and just how fun it was on Halloween. I mean, it really was. It was
absolutely.
It was a blast.
It is fun. It is a lot of fun. So
all right, well let's hit some ag topics for this last segment anyway.
Well, some of you might be celebrating Halloween with pumpkins decorated outside as jack-o'-lanterns.
Yeah.
But pumpkins, they're truly a big part of agriculture that's gone back to the colonial times and much before that. Pumpkins were a staple of all of the indigenous people in North America, and they were cultivated closely with corn and beans, and they were often called the Three Sisters because of how they were planted together. And the corn could grow tall, and the beans could crawl up it, and the pumpkin vines could cover the ground, essentially like the world's first cover crop that many people talk about today. Colonists used them. You can bake them, boil those pumpkins. You can bake them, boil them, broil them, mash them up, do whatever you like with them. And really, they're more than just the jack-o'-lantern. That's what many people do with them. But overall, I still like to plant sugar pie pumpkins so I can use them like a squash. When you get pumpkin pie filling in the store, it's usually a special variety of squash that's in the can, not a real pumpkin.
Yeah. Now, Bridgette, what do most places do? Like, I went shopping the other day, and the local store had still a bunch of pumpkins out there. What are they doing with the leftover pumpkins?
There's a number of things. First of all, there's even some local pumpkin producers. Not all of them are raised in Illinois, which is the highest rated pumpkin growing state in the nation. But I live about 3 miles from a pumpkin patch right here at Hunter, and those pumpkins go to local grocery stores for sale. They are, in fact, a jack-o'-lantern type pumpkin. They're probably less delightful to eat than a sugar pie pumpkin or a squash. But if you have cattle, they love them. Throw them over the fence. Let the cows eat them.
Really?
Goats, sheep, livestock really like them. They're sort of a special treat because they do have a little bit of sweetness to them.
Oh.
And so animals do enjoy having those extra pumpkins. If you have them in your garden, you can simply let them there. Deer will kick them around in the winter months. They'll break down and just naturally decompose, and you can till them back into the soil. The only problem I find is then I get volunteers the next year from the seeds that are still in the soil. So you just have to be prepared for that.
Yep.
But, oh my gourd, just think that when you look at pumpkins, they are a whole different story than what you might expect.
Gotcha.
Yeah, a little different. Now, additionally, there's some other things that folks are doing right now to not just trick or treat, but there is a food drive that's going on. And Gowrie is the name of the little girl who about 10 years ago decided that she wanted to help others. She was 4 years old, saw homelessness and so many other things in our community and wanted to make a difference. So in total, because of her dedication, 25,000 meals have been sent to North Dakota and Clay County through the Great Plains Food Bank. And so this is an annual food drive. You can do monetary donations at the food drive site on greatplainsfoodbank.com. And then also you can take your own donations directly to Cheyenne High School, Academy for Children Montessori, Junior Center for Children, Dakota Bank, Bobcat, and Starbucks in Moorhead. They'll collect those and they will be dedicated for the food drive. And again, this is for Gowrie. She's now 14 years old and she aims to raise $3,000 and 1,500 pounds of food to help support the end of hunger.
That is awesome. How old is she?
14 right now.
What a great idea. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's
super helpful.
So it gives us help that there's still good young people out there.
See, just what we were talking about earlier. And there's great communicators because some of them are already starting to send in their applications to be an assistant ag director to join us on air from time to time, Dean. We will have a new student every month who gets to come on, talk about the ag headlines, interview guests, and so much more. So we're looking forward to that.
Really? And if they want to register for that, Bridgette, how do they do that?
I have an application for students. It's on our Weather and Ag Facebook page, or they can email me ag@flagfamily.com, and I will happily send that out to them in a PDF that they can fill out. Be happy to have those kids participate.
Looking forward to it.
And a big thank you to our sponsors. We've wrapped up our Here We Grow project, and Red River Retention Authority, Gowan Company, as well as Dakota Bank have all been a major part of that all year long. Again, with Red River Retention, they've gotten more work done than they anticipated this year. They literally had a chance to get fall work done on that dam rehabilitation in so many areas. They completed projects that maybe they weren't even expecting. And then to Gowan and Company, keep them in mind as you're planning for next year. Now that tar spot has been confirmed in Richland County, North Dakota, we know that fungicide in corn is going to become more of a topic of discussion over the winter months. And you're going to want to make sure to think that through as you plan your herbicide treatment and fungicide treatments for next year. Lots going on.
Right.
Right.
Awesome. Well, let's give a quick recap of the weather here before we take off today. And
party, here's Bridgette and her blender.
Yep.
Glad she could make
That's
it.
the wrong sounder. This is the right sounder. We don't want Bridgette and her blend. Well, that could be a new sponsor. Bridgette and her blender for weather. I'm liking that. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies throughout the FM area right now. There is some more increasing sun out to our north and west, and we'll see some of that come into the area before sunset. Highs today, the lower 40s, it looks like, is all we're going to make it to. We're in the mid-30s right now. And then as we head into tonight, we'll clear things out. Now, for the trick-or-treaters, it should be pretty decent with temperatures in the upper 30s and light winds. So that is a good thing there. And as we head into tomorrow, we're looking at the clouds thickening up again and a slight chance for an isolated late-day shower. Not looking at much, less than 1/10 of an inch, if that. It will be breezier tomorrow, southeast 10 to 20, and low to mid-40s tomorrow. Right around 50 or so on Saturday. And so if you're tailgating on Saturday, looks good, looks dry, but clouds will thicken back up as we head throughout the day. And then that will lead to rain Sunday and Monday. And looks like we could pick up about a 1/2 inch to an inch of rainfall out of that system, which is good news. Even heavier amounts once again down into the central and southern plains. And then looks like we'll cool down by the middle of next week. I'm still seeing a warm up. How long that lasts, it's a lot of question marks on that. But we'll cool down the middle and possibly into the end of next week, 30s and 40s across the area. And then it looks like we'll get a brief shot of some warm air pushing in off the Pacific before possibly stormier weather after that. So, hey, at least we're not looking at drought conditions like we were for most of the month of September and October as well. So good news on that. So for Bridgette and myself, want to thank everybody for joining us today on Weather and Ag in Focus. Don't go anywhere. The number one show, I think it's been vaulted to the number one show now in the whole Midwest and Great Lakes. Jay Thomas Show is coming up next.